Welcome to Tuam Stadium on what is a very wet and wintry day for the final round of group games in the Galway Senior Club Football Championship, sponsored by the Secours Hotel. First up, it's the clash of Milltown and Monivea Abbey, a match that mightn't have as much as previous encounters between these two clubs would have riding on it. Monivea Abbey guaranteed to be involved in the relegation battle after losing their first two games. And Milltown, after a win in the opening round over Nivana Letchermore, had a brilliant draw against Currafin the last day, and that's a result, Brian Donoghue, former Galway goalkeeper, that really raised a lot of eyebrows, and I think for a lot of Milltown people gave them great hope and expectation for the remainder of the championship.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Milltown look like the team that can probably break into that top four of Sawtill, Currafin, Tuam Stars and Cullen as well to beat them. The new rules tend to suit them. I know a lot of teams are saying that, but they've always kind of kicked the ball along from goal kicks anyway. They've got big ball winners in the middle of the field, and then you have the likes of Mannion, a lot of pace up front in the Costellos. Liam was excellent the last day in that game, and then of course you got Mark Hare and Mike Martin, who with the breeze today, Ollie, will shoot for 2-pointers anyway, so that could be a huge advantage to them.
That's probably going to be the single biggest talking point today, Brian. The breeze and the rain is absolutely sheeting into the town goal, and it is severe. It's going to be worth a lot.
It's going to be worth a lot, and for kickouts and everything, like the new rules at the moment, they're probably a game of kickouts really, and if we've seen the Galway Donegal game at the start of the year in the National League, it was when you have such a bad breeze like that and when teams are capable for shooting for 2-pointers, you'd want to be racking up 10, 11, 12 points before half time, and I think
Rain sheets down on the popular North Galway venue. A heavy wind and rain blowing directly into the town goal is going to have a huge bearing on this fixture. At the moment, it's Milltown down to our left-hand side who are going through their pre-match warm-up, and Monivea Abbey, as ever, in their red and blue tops, who are getting ready to take to the field for this match, which has, I suppose, a different bearing on both of these teams. Monivea Abbey, whatever happens, are guaranteed to be going in to the relegation in fourth place, but they will be looking to bounce back from their opening two-round defeats with a first victory to go with some confidence into those round-robin relegation games. For Milltown, it looks almost certain that they're going to finish second in the group. A highly unlikely sequence of scorelines would see them top the group, but their draw against Currafin has certainly given their supporters plenty of confidence coming into this fixture against Monivea Abbey today. Let's have a look at the Milltown lineup then as we get ready for this Senior Football Championship clash between the North Galway sides. Milltown start with the experienced Conor Nolan between the posts. Jack Caron lines up in a backline that also includes the Martin brothers James and John, with Sean Blake manning the centre back role. Midfield are the Godwins, Porrick and Terry, while up front it's a stellar forward line from Milltown, who really came good in the second half against Currafin. Liam Costello, who made the club championship team of the week, is alongside the all-time championship top scorer for Milltown, Mark Hare, and Colin Brennan, who comes in the half forward line, and a real damaging inside line for Milltown of Niall Costello, Mike Martin and Owen Mannion will look to make a big advantage of the breeze when they have it at their backs in Tuam Stadium. What of Monivea Abbey then? Well, they will be hoping to bounce back and get on the scoreboard with some points before they go into the relegation. Dennis Farrer is a very experienced goalkeeper who's had plenty of good days out here in Tuam Stadium. In the back line, they've got Keith O'Reilly and Cathal Cooley manning the centre berths. At midfield, playmaker and one of the main inspirations of this Monivea Abbey team, Trevor Mullins, is joined by Dara Burke. And up front, the McDades, Killian and Aina, flank either side of Glenn Kelly, and the inside line of Brian Moore and Owen Blade and Niall Mannion will hope to get plenty of supply to cause problems to this Milltown defence. All in all, it's beautifully set up for this clash of Milltown and Monivea Abbey. Former Galway and Clare Galway goalkeeper Brian O'Donoghue joins me on co-commentary. A really interesting double header. There's always going to be big support when you've got Milltown and Dunmore on the same bill here in Tuam Stadium. But Monivea Abbey have got a great support themselves. And I suppose after the opening round hammering to Corofin, they were always really on the back foot.
Yeah, absolutely, and I suppose any team would expect probably to get bet by Corofin, or at least put up a performance against them anyway. Milltown got a good draw against them out the last day as well, but for Monivea Abbey, they'll be hoping probably to get through this game unscathed and get ready for the next round in the relegation battle. But they're going to be looking to put in a good performance as well, and they do have a lot of experience out there as well, from Dennis Farrer in goal, Killian McDade and Trevor Mullins as well, so they'll be hoping to get a good performance in today.
I suppose one of the interesting talking points, Brian, was the fact that the Galway board announced beforehand that for the second round of games it would be winners versus winners, and it's backfired a little bit in terms of this weekend of competition where an awful lot of things have already been decided, especially relegation, where we already know the 4 teams.
Yeah, it sounds good at the start, and there's a lot of jeopardy. You want to win your first game or else you're in trouble, but come the third game, if you lose the first 2, I mean, the relegation guys are already decided. There's probably a bit of doubt maybe from this group position, unless I think Milltown beat Monivea Abbey by a huge score today, and Corofin don't beat Letchermore as much, but otherwise I think I think we're fighting for a second and third position in most of the groups this weekend.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Well, we're about to get underway with Milltown Inaya Monivea Abbey. Shane Curtin is our match referee, so he throws the ball in and we're off and running, and it's Milltown who gather possession, and as you can see from our pictures, and for those of you listening in at home, it's Milltown playing from right to left as we look out from the stand in Tuam Stadium, which means Milltown are playing with a really heavy breeze in this first half. Liam Costello, what a dangerous player he is, looking to get the first score, but the ball just got a half a block, and that took the sting off it into the arms of Dennis Farrer, and Monivea Abbey can thwart that first attack, and an opportunity for Milltown to get the first score on the board has been knocked on the head. Shane Curley, of course, looking after proceedings here today. Very experienced official, and it's Monivea Abbey, who I'd imagine will be taking their time into the wind. If you can start to hear a little bit of the wind hammering down on the fabulous new stand here in Tuam Stadium, which is still got plenty of work to do, but every time we come in here there seems to be another little addition, so they are getting close bit by bit on getting to the finished product. But everybody here in Tuam Stadium is huddled into the stand. It's amazing how conditions have deteriorated so rapidly, Brian, in the last week or 2.
It's unbelievable. There's a couple of hardy souls the far side there now as well, but it's very wet and windy. There's a lot of people with woolly hats on here as well, and they'll be trying to keep warm up in the stand here. Is Monivea just hanging on to the ball here, Ollie, for the last while. With the breeze that's with Milltown, they really need to pressure out here, pressure out on top of Monivea and win it back, because you'd want to be racking up a fair score at half time with this breeze.
Yeah, Monivea will quite happily just kill this game and play long periods of possession football, which I suppose is what the new rules were attempting to try and overcome. But you still get these long periods of teams just playing tippy-tappy football. Milltown have to try and put a bit of pressure on. Mark Hare putting a hand in there, but it's strong work in holding on to possession by Monivea Abbey's Aina McDade, younger brother of Killian, strong player. So too Keith O'Reilly, who's a good strong tackle from Milltown. They overturn it. Now, is there a quick counter? Liam Costello, hand pass inside. Is there an opening score for Milltown on the turn? A little swivel, but that one is just curling to the right hand side and wide. Owen Mannion with the snapshot. Perhaps he could have just taken his time on that one a little bit more, but you could see the anxiety on Milltown, but having turned the ball over, at least, Brian, they have a chance now to reset and put some severe pressure on Dennis Farrer with these kickouts, because I don't know, it's going to be tough to try and win clean possession out around the middle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a battle, and Milltown do have big ball winners in the middle of the field.
There's one of them.
Yeah.
Blocking the ball down. Referee happy to let the ball go, but that's definitely a free. Shane Curley says no. Into the side. Foul on Sean Blake. Just holding his sides a little bit.
They're leaving this for Mark Clare. Is he coming out to try it? He's got a big breeze behind him.
And it's way outside the 2-point zone, so it should be within his compass. Frees, very important on any day you play a senior championship, but nearly on a day like this, you'd say they're almost double the value, because if you're able to keep your footing and just get it on target, I mean, anybody with the breeze behind them you would thinking would be kicking the ball off the hands. Mark just shuffles a step or two to the left, using his experience to sneak a yard or two. By the time he kicks it, he'll be about 47 metres out. Loads of power, loads of accuracy, loads of distance, and 2 points on the board for Milltown, courtesy of Mark Hare. That's almost like a tap over.
That's a great kick, and you know there is a bit of breeze behind him, but he still had to connect with it very well, and fantastic point from Mark Hare, and there are 2 points on the board now.
2-0, Milltown in front after the opening couple of minutes, so that Mark Hare 2-point free, giving Milltown the perfect start. Let's see where the kick out again, blocked down around the middle of the field, but just a little bit more power and strength shown by Killian McDade, who is a very, very physical unit. Had his arm pulled back, no advantage, solo and go from Killian, no stopping anymore in the new rules. Drives it off, has got men outside him to support, including Lee Kelly. Goes to ground, free, says the referee, and that'll be just inside the 2-point zone, albeit still a very, very difficult kick for either Glenn Kelly or whoever attempts to take this. Well, Glenn is putting this down right outside the 2-point zone, so he will get 2 for this if he can carry it. Referee just indicating he's okay, so the foul just outside, carried in, but this will be a chance to level it up, but it would take a ferocious kick.
He's a very good free taker, Glenn Kelly, so this should be in his range. He just needs to get the accuracy. I'd imagine he'd have the distance. Into
the breeze, you will be kicking a lot of frees off the ground. That makes life simpler, gets good distance, but it's going to hang up in the breeze and hang on the edge of the square. Ball touched back inside. Milltown goalkeeper Conor Nolan is alert, and he pops a quick pass out to his fullback Jack Curran, and Milltown can clear their lines. Curran just finishing off with a nice little hand pass out to the right hand side just to try and get Milltown motoring in. A lovely little 1-2 played by Niall Costello, and he now is making great inroads. Costello up to the 45, taken out of it, and that'll be a free in. Referee saying that wasn't shoulder to shoulder, indicating into the back, and an incisive run from Niall Costello. Milltown have a fair bit of pace there, Brian, when they do have to counter-attack, and that was a quick move from the ball in the goalkeeper's hands to get up to the opposite end to force a free.
Absolutely, the two Costello brothers are very, very fast, so is Mannion there as well, and the wind is behind them. I think Mike Martin is not sure happy with the football. I'm not sure what's happening here now. Free looked like to be at the other side of the pitch.
Well, referee is now indicating that there was a 3-up breach, and so it's now come back for a central free and an opportunity now for Mark Hare. So this could be a double score. This could make it 4-0 if he can get a second 2-pointer. So Mark Hare from a much more central position, right-footed, strikes it up and straight between the posts.
That's right.
Absolutely unerring. Referee indicates another 2-pointer, 4-0 now to Milltown. And that is a dream start, certainly for Mark Hare as well. Just over 6 minutes gone, coming up on 7. Milltown now starting to take command, and I think that's one thing we've seen, Brian, as well in recent months, how quickly those 2-pointers can rack up a big lead as Milltown look to drop one inside. Excellent catch in that full forward line. Milltown have got great pace. Yeah. Back to Mark here, the ball won inside by Owen Mannion, of course. Terrific player, covers a lot of ground. Certainly Mannion, the two Costellos, great pace. And you've got the wily experience of Mike Martin. Mark here coming through, an opportunity to punch a point. Simple score. Milltown making it look very easy. Niall Costello, again, just opening up in front of him, decides to fist the point, and wonderful work from Niall Costello on the last two attacks. Seems to work very well coming in from that right half forward berth where he cuts in and can run a straight line diagonal on that occasion decided not to go for goal, and a punch point makes it 5-0.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the three up the other end of the field, Ollie, there's so much more space down there. So when you do have that pace like Costello, like Milltown do, as the kick-out goes away here, they're in a bit of trouble.
And Milltown have got a 5-on-4 overlap here. This could be big danger. In the end, the ball is tapped high up, and it's over the bar. Simple score for Liam Costello. No heroics from Milltown early on in this game. With 8 minutes gone, they really have now started to put the afterburners on. 6-0. Now, we didn't for a million years think that Milltown were in any ways concerned with how Corofin are getting on against Ivana Letchermore, because of the highly unlikely scenario of Milltown winning by 21 points more than Corofin to top the group. I think Milltown are just concentrating on winning the game and building up as big an advantage as they can. But 6 points is a healthy early lead for Milltown. Even if Milltown were to lose here to Monivea Abbey, they would expect Corofin to beat Letchermore, and that way they'd finish second regardless. No free, says the referee, but Monivea Abbey might get the advantage of a shot at the goals, and a deflection out for a 45, and that could have gone anywhere. Conor Nolan was committed to the dive. The shot went in. There were a few half-hearted calls for a foot block, but I think the ball had travelled enough distance before it struck the boot of the Milltown defender. No free in, says Shane Curley. He goes over to explain to Killian McDade there was a legitimacy about the tackle that went in, but was a half chance?
Yeah, I think Brian Moore got a shot off there, Ollie. It looked from here that it might have been going a small bit wide. It took a deflection and absolutely could have gone anywhere. But you know, I think Monivea are probably right to go for goals, as they've just picked it off the ground and give Milltown back possession. I'm
not so sure about that one. Very, very harsh on Cathal Cooley. It looked like he touched it on the ground, but I don't think he had. And in the end, just the fact that he spilled the initial catch was enough to convince the referee. And so it's turned over. John Martin working it out towards Terry Godwin. Fine player, Godwin. Beautiful ball inside. Here's a chance for Milltown now. In on goal. Is there a chance? Oh, back at the net. Brilliant finish. Owen Mannion. The ball from Godwin, though, pure quality. You can see who I was involved with the Galway under-20s this year. That is lightning fast.
Brilliant to see. And there was a one-on-one defending on inside as well, Ollie. It's great to see with the new rules as well. And Pádraig Godwin got up and kicked a great ball into Owen Mannion, who was out in front, turned his man, and he just had Dennis Farrer to beat, which is not easy, but slotted in the back of the net. And 1-6 to no score after 10 minutes. It signs ominous here now for Milltown. Yeah,
you got the feeling that when Milltown got the advantage of the wind in the first half, the chances of an upset here were nearly taken away, because it is a massive breeze and it's psychologically so tough for Monivea Abbey, given that they really have only pride to play for anyway in the fixture. Oh, Milltown have missed a trick there. The ball completely evading James Martin, who just didn't adjust his feet. And now the referee is indicating that the free was taken quickly from the wrong position. Monivea Abbey won't be upset because their attempts at a quick score have come to naught. The rain is really pelting down here now, and it's just one of those horrid thunder showers that makes life very, very difficult. And it's very hard to be, too critical of defenders or of anybody out there, Brian, because underfoot conditions now are worsening by the minute.
Oh yeah, and the wind and rain, and the ball is going to get slippery, and players are going to get tired a lot more easier as well. So, both teams would want to get in a good performance here, but conditions are just making it very difficult for Monivea to get a grip to the game.
Let's watch this free as Glenn Kelly strikes it right foot. He's going to have to weigh him way right and doesn't give it nearly enough. That ball probably needed to go
way out,
15 metres to the right hand side. I don't know where you here for the Corofin game, but from almost the same position with a very different breeze, Mike Martin aimed almost at the scoreboard with the exact same kick, and everybody was groaning until the wind caught it and next thing blew it back over the black spot. And it was one of the great kicks seen in Tuam Stadium for many a long year. A guy who just absolutely gauged the wind to perfection, and it was a howling wind. So I think Glenn Kelly will adjust his kick next time around. It almost seems impossible that you'd have to aim so far outside the posts, but the wind is ferocious here. So it remains 1-6 to no score. Elsewhere, Ivana Letchermore, playing with the strong wind, are 2 points to no score up on Corofin.
Oh.
So you could have a really bizarre set of circumstances at half-time, given the ferocity of the wind, where that 21-point turnaround might be reduced very, very significantly. But I think we'll all understand that you don't judge that until the very, very end, when both opposition teams have had a chance to play with the breeze as well. Opportunity now for Liam Costello, plays it back. Is there a shot coming in around the house? It's out to the right hand side.
Bit of a snapshot there, no?
Yeah, that was poor.
No.
Colin Brennan with the shot. That didn't work out. And I suppose it's... How tough is it for a team like Milltown with, already a 9-point lead, playing with a storm, in a match that doesn't really have as much resting on it than it should have, just to keep that intensity, to keep it going?
Yeah, I think it's they can probably G themselves up as much as they want on Tuesday and Thursday nights for training sessions, but it's the jeopardy just isn't there, and they're already through. They're probably going to finish in second position, and probably in a nice finer day they'll probably get more motivation out of this, but it is difficult with the conditions and with the results the way they've already gone.
Yeah, I think everybody is finding it hard to get motivated here in Tuam Stadium. A little bit of a laugh because Sam Fearick had the ball bouncing off every part of his anatomy without knowing anything about it, and now Milltown they've turned the ball over. Monivea Abbey were thinking they might have been entitled to a free there, but of course conditions play such a big part in this game as well. Good work from Mark here. He got the first two-pointers from Milltown, remember, so he's got 4 points to his credit. Niall Costello with 1, Liam Costello with 1, and Owen Mannion with the goal, accounting for Milltown's 1-6. That's going back 4 minutes since their last score. Are they about to add another one? Lovely little return pass. Good work. An opportunity now for Liam Costello to curl it over, but he's turned that one just enough inside the post. The referee says... Well, he's trying to give the indication that he was inside. That's a one-pointer, so it should be the white flag, and that is correct. Shane Curley was on the ball, just understanding that Liam had a foot inside the 2-metre arc. So it's second one-pointer for Liam Costello, but more importantly for Milltown, they go 1-7 to no score up, and we have played 14 and a half minutes. So coming up to the end of the first quarter, Milltown will feel that they're just about on par with what this wind is worth. Very, very significant breeze with Milltown. They're coming looking for another score. Now Costello jinking through off the left, just took way too much out of that. He's probably a little bit fortunate to get a free. Turned back into traffic, had an opportunity to do the pop pass, but this will be a tap over point, and you can see the man scurrying forward there to get the ball is Mike Martin. He says, I want a piece of this action and get off the scoreboard here, and this should be a tap over point for Mike Martin. I guess what will be really important is the second game here today between Dunmore McHales and Clare Galway, because one of those teams is a very live and real prospect of being the opposition for Milltown next weekend in the preliminary quarterfinals. Yeah,
absolutely. I think the team that finishes third plays the teams that finishes second. Now I know the draw isn't made yet, but with Milltown's form against Corofin and their form here today, and with the pace that they have up front, I don't think anybody in third position will want to get Milltown, as Mark Hare comes out now probably for another shot at a 2-pointer. Milltown are just so much in control here, Ollie. Monivea are really struggling. The conditions aren't great, but Milltown are just absolutely in control here. It could be 1-10 to no score after 16 minutes if Mark gets this one.
And it's every chance that it will be, because Mark Hare has been unerring so far. Now that's commentators' curse country, but Mark Hare is just an extraordinary performer for Milltown. As right-footed, does he get enough curl on that? I don't think he does. Yeah, you know when you start bigging up a guy that you're absolutely putting the curse on him. But he's been a stellar performer for Milltown.
Oh, for 10, 15 years.
Probably close to 15 now.
He's been fantastic.
I remember when Milltown celebrated 50 years in senior football, he was closing in on Gay McManus at that point as the club's all-time top scorer. It took him another couple of years, and now he's just gone off into the sunset. And somewhere along the line, somebody will go to the trouble of sitting down and doing up the club statistics. It looked 10 years ago that nobody ever in the history of the game would get within a million miles of Pádraig Joyce's record for Killearn as all-time club scorer. As Milltown come looking for another score, an opportunity as the shot is blazed over the bar by Owen Mannion. Could have gone for a goal, probably did go for a goal, but Dennis Farrer has got a big frame and he did really well to close the angle there. And that was a point from Owen Mannion with a goal chance, but still 1-9 to no score is the scoreboard now. And you feel for Monivea Abbey, because it's one of those situations where if you try and go short with the kick out in these conditions, you're just putting ferocious
It's a lottery.
pressures.
It's just a lottery, and with Milltown are just so eager, and they're starting out on the 45 as well. They're not really giving Dennis much options, so I'd be trying to slow it down as much as I can and waiting to get in at half time. But it's just a lottery to go short, especially in these conditions in the new rules. He's better off going long and try to win the breaks.
That's a brilliant kick from Farher into the breeze. Milltown couldn't hold on to it. Sean Blake has gone down, had his hands on the ball. Milltown have got a free, and it looks like they might have to hold the game up. Milltown should hold the game up, but their centre back gets to his feet, so play on. I'll ask Brian Dunhu his thoughts in a moment on just what you can do if you're on the sideline and you're a team defending a strong breeze. Here's Sam Ferrick with a snapshot. Does he get a 2-pointer? No. Out to the left hand side and wide. I draw you back to Kieran McGeeney on the sideline for Armagh in that 20-minute period against Kerry, where they could not win a kick out. Now, you were a goalkeeper for long enough, and I know you get plenty of people shouting at you at the sideline, but in the honour of God, playing into a wind, there is such a momentum on the team attacking your kick out. What can you possibly do to try and break up these stats of losing 7 or 8 kick outs in a row?
Yeah, I think, if you're going long and you're not winning them, it might be more risky to go short, but if you're almost guaranteed to lose it when you go long, I think you're better off to go short and try something. Monivea Abbey just like to have their set plan here is just to kick it long the whole time, and even if they win the break, Milltown seem to be so good on the tackling that they're actually dispossessing them before they get it up to the 45. So I think they just need to try and go short and work it over the back, because they need to get their hands on possession somehow, but it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do at all.
It's probably one of the great puzzles in GA to try and break up that momentum, because when a team starts winning a couple of them, they seem like they've broken the form, and here they come looking forward for another score. This time though, Milltown decide to go for their shooters. Mike Martin stumbling though, losing his footing, and then, well, it's Monivea Abbey who turn it over, and Milltown just overplaying it a little bit in that instance. But Jack Curran, I think after seeing Sam Ferrick's effort go wide, wasn't confident enough, but Milltown's tackling is brilliant.
Yeah. They're so motivated, and we kind of questioned their motivation before, given the situation they were in the table and the wind here and the conditions, but you really can see a team's motivation about how good they are tackling. I'd say their tackling count is well up in the first half.
Niall Costello on that instance. Milltown look a really well drilled outfit. Fitness is one thing, but they've got a lot of the technical skills very, very right in difficult conditions. So far, 20 minutes have flown by. Milltown 1-9, Monivea Abbey no score, but every match in the county today is going to be the quintessential game of two halves, because in every venue the elements are the big talking point. Driving wind and rain. We thought we might get a bit of an upturn in the weather as we creep towards September and kids going back to school, but alas, it looks like the good times are behind us and we are into winter football. Next weekend, whatever happens, it'll be knockout, but these last group games will still tell a tale as regards who might be in the pot for 6:30 this evening, and more importantly, in what pot. Second teams are in one hat, third place teams in the other. 4 matches drawn for next weekend in the preliminary quarter-finals. Let's watch Monivea Abbey. Can they get off the mark with their first score? No, it's out to the right hand side and wide. And I think for all 4 teams playing today in Tuam Stadium, it's going to be very difficult to get a score into the scoreboard end. Those umpires down to the right hand side, maybe the biggest job they'll have doing is staying warm here today, because the referee saw a little bit of a touch there, so he has awarded a 45 to Monivea Abbey. But this will be, I think, an opportunity now for Trevor Mullins to try something short. Even Glenn Kelly felt there's no way he's going to get one, but good ball from Mullins. Milltown trying to stay with Owen Larney, disciplined, not to give away a free. Brian Moran holding possession, getting it through. Monivea Abbey trying to burrow their way through. Referee says there was a hand in. Over the top. Sam Ferrick questioning it. Referee says this is the spot, and it'll be Glenn Kelly. Now, even this free on the 20-metre line
for right footer,
is a toughie. Yeah.
It's a tough one. Yeah, thought the free was a bit harsh. Glenn looks like he's going to line up with his left foot here.
Mightn't be wrong.
No, I think it's a good option.
If he has an option of a left peg, Shane Welch style, it is a good one. But he needs to get a good purchase on it. But even this is a difficult kick. The wind howling into his face, barely keeping his eyes open. Left-footed, gets a good purchase on it, and Monivea Abbey are off the mark on 22 minutes. Well, that's still worth its weight in gold. Good score from Glenn Kelly off the left. one of Abbey's first of the game, 1-9 to a point. If the halftime whistle were to go now, I don't think one of Abbey would be too unhappy, because the elements are ferocious. They'd nearly be still in the game.
Absolutely, yeah. And if they have a couple of 2-pointers, you'd imagine Killian McDade could get a couple as well. Glenn Kelly, if he can shoot off left and right, Ollie, he'd certainly be a dangerous kicking into that breeze. They win the kick out here again, but it is conditions are just playing a huge part today, and unfortunately for Monivea, they're playing against them in the first half.
Yeah, the long kick out didn't work for Milltown there. There were wires crossed because most of their midfielders had transferred to the opposite side of the field. Killian McDade bursting through a couple of challenges. He's going to have to do an awful lot of work on his own. Good ball back to Moran. Lovely little hand pass inside. Now here's a chance for one of Abbey. Is there a goal on here? A punch point. It's flicked up and over the bar. Nice work. In the end, the ball. Owen Blade gets the point. Might have thought about a flick across the square for the Pam in goal. Didn't see enough red jerseys there, so probably took the wise option, Brian.
I think so, yeah. I think a couple of Milltown lads were back on the line straight away. They read the danger, and a good score from Monivea. And they just need to get scores on the board. Probably need to go for goals earlier on with this breeze to see how things are going. But that's 2 points in probably 3 minutes now, so their confidence might be up a bit.
It's funny how it can be tougher for a goalkeeper to kick with a strong wind behind them sometimes. Conor Nolan is finding that just about getting 40 metres or so on that kick out, but it worked out. Milltown get it forward now to Liam Costa. He's the real danger man, having a run left and right, putting the head down. Is he going for a punch point? Oh, it's just marvellous football. Yeah. I know he's been hovering around the edges of the Galway panel for the last couple of years as well. I think there was a late hit went in there as well. Our eyes were transfixed on Costello punching the point. That late hit though is going to lead to a yellow card, and Killian McDade might be the man to get that. So the County Star goes into the book. Shane Curley issues yellow to Killian, and he'll have to watch himself. Milltown weren't too happy with that, but excellent score from Costello, who's feeling the after effects of that hit from Killian, but a super punch point.
Yeah, he's very good, Liam Costello. He can beat his man in one-on-one. He's got some great pace as well, and it took the right option there. He could have gone for goal, but it was still a difficult fist pass. He had to get a good purchase on it as well, straight over the crossbar. And I think the late hit from Killian McDade was just probably born straight out of frustration, with Monivea's performance in the first half. 1-10
to 2 points. Ball around the middle of the field. Milltown get the break and then spill it, and it's picked up nicely. Lee Kelly working hard, solo and go. Monivea looking for perhaps a long ball over the top option to Blade. They've also got a runner inside in Glenn Kelly, so Monivea have plenty of forward options, but really tough trying to get any sort of a kick pass 30-40 metres into that wind. So they go for the short hand pass option. Dara Burke, toe to hand, decides to go back to McDade. Killian looking left and right, goes for the little killer kick pass. Nice ball through. Is there a shot outside of the right? This is a fine effort. That's a beautiful score. Chip ball into Lee Kelly. Lee Kelly turned outside of the right, made by Killian McDade. Good work initially by Dara Burke, but that's a proper finish by Lee Kelly.
Yeah, I don't know how Lee Kelly got free there. Milltown seemed to be man marking, but I think he just managed to slip away. Maybe they were going a bit zonal around the D, but he's still an excellent kick by Lee Kelly to put it over the bar into that breeze. That's probably the way to go at it, Ollie. Just cut through it outside the boot and try to keep it low, and especially into that breeze. But great score, and 3 points on the board here now from Monivea.
Well, the best chance to generate space is for somebody to be able to make that 30-metre kick pass. It's not easy into the wind, but McDade did on that occasion. At the other end though, lovely control again from Costa. Look at the wonderful balance of this man. The shot though is very poor in the end, and Colin Brennan won't want to see that in replay, because there's the cardinal error of dropping it into the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think that's the second one as well. Maybe the first one was wide, but I mean, with the two Costellos, Mark Hare, Mike Martin, Mannion, you probably should be getting the ball to those guys to get the scores on the board.
Milltown trying to put a bit of a squeeze on, close to the ground there by Keith O'Reilly, but with his side 1-10 to 3 points down. Referee looked away. Possession worked its way up towards Lee Kelly, having an influence in the second quarter of this game. Lee, we're turning into the last 3 minutes of the first half now, so one of Abbey sense that even one more score before half time would give them a real boost. 10 points behind, but it's at least a 10 great points ball. Win. There's a fine kick. Oh, excellent balance. Beautiful pop pass. Great work inside. Great work by Glenn Kelly. But in the end, the ball is going to drop in around the house. Milltown's at 6s and 7s. Blade wrestled to the ground. Is that a penalty? Well, where the initial foul took place, I think Shane Curley has got a decision to make. For me, that's a penalty. He's announced it's on the 13-metre line. Glenn Kelly is in there as well. And I tell you what, VAR might have had a look at that, but perhaps Owen Blade used gravity to help the referee's decision in that instance. But I think Monivea will take it. It's that point that we spoke about. 2 in a row again. That's the second time as the ball is tipped up and over the bar comfortably by Glenn Kelly that Monivea have hit 2 points in quick succession. And Milltown will just have to try and finish the half a little bit stronger because their scoring rate has dropped alarmingly.
Push on the back there on Colin Brennell there from Monivea, and I think Monivea had the ball and they've given it away now as Milltown can go on the attack here. But a great ball in, Ollie, there for the free from Killian McDade. Fantastic ball in, great skill. I think Brian Moran was probably just a small bit delayed in his running to get the offload, but you know, Monivea will probably be a lot more happy in the last 10 minutes. The performance in
you mentioned the last 10 minutes. It's 4 points to 1 to Monivea Abbey in that last 10. Now that could have a big bearing on the second half, because we were talking when Milltown were 1-9 to no score up after 16 minutes that this game was over. Second quarter has taken a different turn.
Absolutely, yeah. A point in the last 15 minutes is not a good return from Milltown. They just got out, and they got out so quickly out of the blocks at the start, and they're slowing it down here. But it's going to give Monivea a lot more hope going into the half time. You know, with the last few scores that they've got, but you know, Milltown still look a small bit dangerous here.
Nevana Letchermore 4 points to 2 up on Corofin at the same time. Low scoring game, but Nevana with the big breeze. Costello coming forward as well. Referee says he slid in. Did he do enough to get to the ball? Monivea Abbey. Well, referee says play on. He's happy just to let things just settle themselves. Liam Costello is indicating that there was a stamp. Dennis Farrer is out giving his opinion as well.
I think there might have been a stamp, but I don't think it was on Costello. I think it maybe was kicking his leg away.
I think he was trying to extricate his leg from the tackle. I'd nearly have preferred to see the referee play on here and not make much of it, because when you slow the game down and go into, as I mentioned already, VAR, we saw the trouble yesterday in the English Premier League with so many decisions being re-refereed. In this instance, okay, fair enough if there is something really untoward, but the ref has gone in, and this is all a conversation about the Monivea Abbey player and whether or not that was a deliberate stamp down on the Milltown player after that coming together. There's no doubt Liam Costello went in with a slide tackle to win the ball, which was dangerous, and he was right to be penalised. The free was to Monivea Abbey. The momentum of the Milltown man carried him into the Monivea Abbey player, and subsequent to that, we could have a situation where the referee might end up producing a red card, which would absolutely just destroy any chance. Well, Costello is going to be yellow carded, I think, for the slide tackle. 1 minute to be added on, and of course the Monivea Abbey player involved is Trevor Mullins. So double yellow, will that solve it? You'd hope so, but referee is just saying he's spoken to the umpires and that's what we have, double yellow. So okay, maybe that's fair enough. Again, much ado about nothing, and what it has done, it's just taken up a minute of the game.
It's just completely brought this thing out of the game, and Monivea Abbey were on the attack, but here we go again now. Well,
they try and finish the half, but Milltown might overturn it. Ball breaks, Milltown get the line ball. Dandy Kelly, hard to pick him out as the lines went down to the sideline because he's got the rain mac on him, and Niall Costello runs into a couple of challenges and in the end is a little bit lucky, but the ball still doesn't break kindly for Milltown, and it's Monivea Abbey who pick it up and get the free, showing great heart at the end of this half. And now the referee's going to bring it forward 50 metres. Niall Mannion is being urged to go forward by Monivea Abbey. Monivea Abbey are still in old money, bringing the ball forward.
Unbelievable, and it's still a very difficult skill to execute that, to get into the back of the net, and as Kelly here is tackling again, but 5 points in it now, they have the breeze. You know, Milltown definitely are going to be worried about this situation, and I see James Kavanagh, probably the most experienced person in the field now, taking the ball, and he's done well to get that just to slow things down for Milltown.
I think Milltown are somewhat shell-shocked because this game has completely gone away from them. From a position of being 12 points up, they're back to 5, and they really are leaking oil badly. but a score might change all of that into the breeze. Maybe it's exactly what Milltown needed to shock them back into action, because we talked about it halfway through the first half, Brian, where you were kind of asking the question and you tried to answer it. Where do Milltown find the motivation to keep going?
Yeah, well, that goal is definitely going to help them anyway. But they were just so dominant the first half now. But the way the rules have gone and the breeze and the conditions are here, it's unbelievable that Monivea are just 5 points ahead. Sorry, 5 points behind.
Milltown working it through the hands. Sam Ferrick flicking it across. They've got a goal! Oh, what a patient bit of football from Milltown. Owen Mannion profits at the end. But didn't Sam Ferrick do well to delay the pass? The easy thing to do would have been to flick that ball over the bar. But he looked blindly to his left, got the shout from Mannion, and that was a lot of months in the training ground that worked at hand there for Milltown to work a great goal.
Absolutely, it was so well worked. The ball never hit the ground at all. The ball went to hand, and the man at the back post just stood up there and just an empty tap into the back of the net. And we talked about motivation, Ollie. That goal is the motivation that Milltown needed against Monivea as they come out of the back line here. But that's definitely going to bring the pulses up of both team here now for the next 25 minutes.
Well, it certainly made a game of it, because you were wondering, was this going to turn into a bit of a damp squib when Milltown were coasting in that first half? But a combination of Milltown taking their foot off the gas, but more importantly, Monivea Abbey showing some real spirit. And a famous Galway club, of course the championship winners in '92, had such a wonderful run in winning the Galway Intermediate Championship a couple of years ago that took them all the way to the Connacht final here. And they showed great heart in that championship. And now the referee is indicating that there was a late free. He's going to blow it back. And that will be a Monivea Abbey ball on the halfway line.
I think it was a foul on Killeen McDay, but he seemed to carry on the ball for another 5 or 6 seconds before he kicked it in. So I think Milltown probably maybe felt a bit hard done by. But they are launching the ball inside in top of Owen Blade. I think Milltown are fairly wise, but there they dropped the man back down. It was a 2-1 when Killeen kicked it in. But it's going to be a tactic for James Kavanagh reads it here. But that's definitely a tactic Monivea are going to do in the second half. Kick it in long to the man inside in the forward line.
Well, Kavanagh's crucial for Milltown now in the second half, isn't he?
Because he's so experienced.
He's that wily head, and of course they still have Cathal Blake to call on if need be, but just players who know these kind of conditions and know the pressure of a situation. But Milltown are just struggling to hold on to the ball. Monivea Abbey turned them over. This time the man dispossessed is John Martin, and it's an easy tap over point. Brian Moran is the man to profit and chip that one over the bar, and that makes it now 2-10 to 1-6. So while Milltown did well to overturn possession, you can overdo it in these conditions as well. On that occasion, Milltown probably would have been better off trying to be a bit more direct. But the lateral play, Martin got bottled up and easily dispossessed. And in the end, it's Moran who's got the score for Monivea Abbey. Still a lot of work to do for Monivea Abbey to get really back into this game. Remember, they were within 5 until Milltown got the goal. It's now back to 2-10 to 1-6. Milltown counter-attack, and this is where they're dangerous with the space. Off it goes again to Owen Mannion. Spins his man. Coming in along. Is that a high challenge? Referee's giving the advantage. He's going to be back for the free. He is impossible to defend.
He's so fast. He's so fast. It's 1-on-1 as well, Ollie. He gets down low, and
it's down low is the problem, isn't it?
It's just so difficult for a defender. If you reach in over him, it's a free straight away. If you pull him back, because he's so fast, you can see him slowing up straight away. And 1-on-1, it's a nightmare for any cornerback. And Owen Lavery's having a tough job there with him.
Well, you're nearly thinking at an inter-county level, the kind of Johnny McGraths of this world that are built to mark corner forwards like that. Not every club, though, is blessed with the likes of the Cardiff Strand man, and so a lot of clubs will struggle against Owen Mannion. Mark Hare is the man to profit. He's got his first 1 point free. He's got 2 2-pointers, so it's a 5th point for Mark Hare, and that just eases Milltown into a 2-11 to 1-6 lead 8 minutes into the second half. Long ball dropped in the middle of the field, picked up pieces by Milltown. Hovering around there, looking was Terry Godwin, did well. Off to Niall Costello, solo and go from Jack Curran. Being urged to stay back by some of the more conservative Milltown supporters. That looked like a shoulder in the back on Terry Godwin, but he's got immense strength. Two brothers at midfield, Terry and Porrick, of course, watching on here. Their granddad Porrick as well. Of course, the team manager Owen is an uncle of the two lads as well. Is there
a breach,
a
Ollie?
3-up breach by Milltown?
Definitely was a 3-up. The Milltown had two lads back inside their own 2-point arc, but there was definitely more over the halfway line. It's something that you can't switch off in this game at all, and it needs to be either called by the full back who's down there to make sure the other guy doesn't go up, or else in the sideline. They've just switched off here, and you'd imagine that Glenn Kelly would put this over, and 1-8 to 2-11, especially with the 2-pointer wind. You just can't switch off with this breach nowadays.
Well, perhaps that Milltown supporter I shouted and described as being conservative by telling their fullback to go back was far more in tune with the rules than I give him credit for, because he obviously spotted the fact that the 3-up breach was left as a result of Jack Curran's sally up the field, and there absolutely. They are punished. So it is extraordinary. But the amount of communication that's required now, Brian, is something else.
Yeah, but you need to be practicing training so much, and they'll be very disappointed with that. But you'd hate to see a situation, Ollie, where you can imagine if a team were a point up in the county final and a breach happened and the other team get 2 points to win it or something. It's just such a severe penalty for the breach, but unfortunately that's the way it is. Yeah,
one wonders, would a free in the middle of the field not be enough to turn possession over, but a tap over point
goal or something like that as well. But Monivea are still alive. They're still definitely a threat here, Ollie. They have not gone away at all.
That is for sure. And it's a 2-point free from Glenn Kelly to make it 2-11 to 1-8 as suggested. And 2-pointers can come thick and fast in this game. And here's a pot shot for another. Moran goes for it. Moran gets it. This game is back in the melting pot. The two hands in the air from the match referee signals the orange flag. And Brian Moran's 2-pointer makes it 2-11 to 1-10.
It's just not in their DNA to lie down, Ollie. The Monivea guys, they're absolutely going to go for Everton, and a fantastic score there by Brian Moran, and I think it's just reading 4 points in it now, and they'll be very, very happy with how they finished the last 50 minutes in the first half, and now the first 10 minutes have gone here for them.
Éanna McDade is coming off, a young player. Of course, he's Killian's younger brother. He's been given a tryout. I think that was the plan. Give him a half an hour, maybe a little bit more, and of course he's got so many big days ahead of him. But great catch in the middle of the field. Milltown certainly needed that one. Looked like a late tackle. Referee not inclined to give it. Certainly seems like Terry Godwin was fouled on that occasion, but nothing forthcoming, and Monivea Abbey can kick another 2-pointer here. Here's the shot from Kelly, but it's to the left and wide, and that would really have irked Milltown. Mike Martin is asking, was that not a high challenge on his midfield colleague Terry Godwin? Referee says no. Milltown are getting vocal now, and they're getting upset because there was none of this passion, there was none of this interest in the game 40 minutes ago.
No, absolutely. 1-9 to no score up. It looked like a dead duck. Fortunately, we're seeing an absolutely completely different second half here as well, and Monivea are going for it, and they're right to be going for 2 pointers as well, Ollie. It's their best chance of winning it.
Yeah, if you want to take us back in terms of the last 25 minutes of football, it's 1-10 to 1-2 to Monivea Abbey on the scoreboard. They'll just have to try and forget about that first 16 minutes that gave them such a mountain to climb. Tell you what, they're halfway up Mount Everest, maybe a little bit more than half. The ball chipped into the full forward line. A chance again for Blade. He's on the left. He's surely going to look for a runner. Kelly's on his left. Pops it over the bar. Glenn Kelly can do no wrong. Wonderful target play from Owen Blade. And right now, Monivea Abbey are just a goal behind Milltown, and they're almost favourites heading into the final quarter with a gale, and the driving rain is back at their backs, and now the deficit is only 3.
Yeah, it's an amazing turnaround. You certainly couldn't predict it in the first half, but it's just what the rules do. It's what the wind does with the new rules as well. It's such a game of two halves, and Monivea Abbey are going to really take an awful lot for this from the last 18 minutes of the game, and Milltown needs something.
Well, this is the Milltown team that were 6 points down early in the second half against Corofin and going nowhere and looking like they were just being told by everybody to accept the inevitable. They went on a scoring burst of outscoring Corofin by 1-8 to 2 points to completely transform a game and suddenly end up leading the county champions by 3 points with 5 minutes to go. Only to get white line fever and Corofin to get the last 3 points to draw the game. But you're kind of waiting for Milltown to create another little mini burst. Is it in them?
Well, it comes back to the motivation thing, and they're probably secure in second place at the moment. Do they bring on more guys to get legs into them? Kelly's going for this one. He's a long way out.
This is a Glenn Kelly 2-pointer to get us back within one, and what
a kick!
He has bombed it over the bar. Monivea Abbey are back within one. And they are favourites to go and win this game right now.
Oh, they have to be. It's an amazing turnaround. Milltown just need something. They need to win a short kick out here. Monivea Abbey have won the last few. They just need to get their hands on the ball and work it up the pitch. But it's all Monivea in the last 15 minutes, the last half an hour. Sorry.
2:11 to 1:13. Milltown lead Monivea Abbey. All credit to Abbey, who, with little to play for other than pride, well, they are putting on a show for their supporters here. They are the ones who are looking to win the game. Milltown now are fighting tooth and nail. Niall Costello slides in. Referee didn't like it. He's given the free. James Kavanagh questions it. You just can't put the boot in when there's a stray ball going. Abbey have a chance to hit the front if they kick a 2-pointer in the next attack. This is extraordinary stuff. We still have 15 minutes to go. Monivea Abbey attacking the town goal. Milltown absolutely on the ropes. They know that whatever happens, they're expecting Corofin to come from 2 points down to beat Nevana Letchermore, and that will mean that it will be academic. But Milltown haven't lost a game. Of course, Corofin getting 5 unanswered points at the start of the second half to take control of that game, 7-4. So you no doubt Corofin will win against Nevana Letchermore. But Milltown, if they're to lose here to Monivea Abbey, having drawn with Corofin, that will not be the preparation they want going in to a preliminary quarter-final in 2 weeks' time. And suddenly Milltown are starting to just reveal a little bit of their Jekyll and Hyde nature. The sideline now is a hive of activity, and Milltown are far more engaged in this game, as they know Monivea Abbey are on the cusp of maybe hitting the front. This ball is going to drop up and over the bar.
It's going over.
A shot that was half deflected, but it's still a point. And Monivea Abbey are now 2:11 to 1:14, are all square. An extraordinary turnaround from 12 points down to level. The big man in the middle of the field swinging the left boot has got it over the bar, and that is a point from Dara Burke that has levelled us up. And right now you can't help but think that it's almost inevitable that Monivea Abbey will keep this momentum going and get the lead point in the next attack. It's Killian McDade who's going to go for it. That's a bit rash. It might just skid off the surface and stay in play, but no, it's gone out. Was that a late challenge? I think in the end Owen Blade made a bit too much of that. A little bit rash from McDade, who really should have just kept the cool here, because that's the kind of thing that will give Milltown a few seconds of a breather and a chance maybe to recalibrate. Milltown surely are going to have to empty the bench in the next few minutes to try and get some fresh legs on. But the next score is always the toughest one. When a team is so far behind, even with the elements, it's the one to go in front that can prove the most difficult point to get. Will it turn out that way as the ball is touched down from Godwin? Where's the break? It's McDade to pick it up. He showed the more willingness to do so. Pull on his arm. Is this a 2-point kick for Kelly? It has to be. He's got loads of range. Don't mind that it's 60 metres out. This is well within his compass. He shouldn't need to go short. He does. Milltown have retreated, and so Monivea Abbey will build from the back. Lee Kenny got the first score in the second half. He's jogging into position. There's only one winner now, you think. The sides are level, 2:11 to 1:14. Unbelievably, given that Milltown were so dominant.
There's just too much space, Ollie, in front of Pádraig Godwin there. They're isolating one-on-one inside the whole time. It's very difficult to defend against this.
And now Blade in the driving win wins the ball. Out it goes. The left-footed shot coming in. Was that a late hit? No, says the referee. Who's defending this? Milltown all over the place. But the man picking up the pieces is Niall Costello, who did really well. Sean Blake took a lot of time before eventually he got his bearings. And Milltown might just lift the siege here and might just do enough to get a counter-attack going here. Mike Martin trying to get there, but pulled to the deck by Keith O'Reilly. Solo and go from Mike Martin. Now there's a load of space up the other end. An opportunity now close to the ground for Mannion to do a little chip pick-up. Mannion, as he pulled back, referee says play on. Ball might just work out here for Monivea Abbey to defend it, and they do. Strength in numbers was in the end the difference there for Monivea, and Trevor Mullins can play the ball out from the half back line. Ball spilled, but in the end Sean Blake goes in, a no hands tackle, but referee says play on. Monivea have loads of room here now for Lee Kenny, and nobody is within 10 yards of the playmaker. As right-footed Kenny chips it into the corner. Blade, dummy hand pass, flicks it back out. Opportunity surely here now for Monivea to kick the lead score, but it's into the goalkeeper's hands. Referee says advantage was coming for the foul on Owen Blade, and this will be the tap over free to give Monivea the lead. The foul looked to be against Owen Larney. It's academic, but it's going to be a free for a pullback on Owen Blade, and this will be Monivea in front for the first time in the game, which is hard to believe.
It's amazing the turnaround that's come, Ali. We said it again, but I'm wondering, have Monivea just expended just too much energy in the last 19-20 minutes of the game, and is there something to come from Milltown the last 10 minutes? But it's just going to be in for such an exciting game. Is he
off the post and back in play? Blade had to take the free himself, and so the ball is back into play. They can still get the ball recycled to their shooter Kelly. Glenn Kelly hand passes it across, and it's intercepted. Have Monivea blown their shot?
Oh, there's just so much drama in this, and it's an amazing game of football. I'm just wondering, have they just given too much energy out there? But as Milltown get it, great play, but Costello.
It's turned over, and it's back to Liam Costello. It can all turn in a sixpence here, but Milltown have lost the ball.
Tackle.
The man losing it in the challenge was Sam Fearick. Had a blindsided advantage coming from Monivea. They'll take their time. Killian McDade will come back for the free, but a chance for Owen Blade, who had to take his own free. It was a delayed mark, that's why he had to take it, because he won the long ball in. Seemed to get plenty of time to take advantage of the forward mark, but the referee blew it back. That's why Blade himself had to take it, and he was a little bit uncomfortable as the ball now comes back, or the focus comes back to the referee, who's going to give a yellow card here to Lee Kenny. All a bit mysterious from the supporters, all a bit irrelevant, one would think as well. Milltown have to keep 3 up, so Mike Martin is just doing his sums as he looks around. He's okay, he knows he can go back. Milltown have 4 up as things are, but always has to be Marshall. It's like you need to keep one of your mentors on the sideline to watch it at all times. So Mike Martin can't pass halfway. If he does, he's in trouble, and he's perilously close to the halfway line at the moment.
He's got his big toe over it. But it probably suits the likes of Mike and Michal here as well, that they don't have to track back. They can save their energy. Like if this was last year, Milltown just could have shut up shop here for the second half because they're up by so much more. So it is a good rule, but the penalty sometimes can be too harsh if you do go over the breach.
Monivea Abbey now playing with the ball in the halfway line. The stopwatch tells us we've played 21-20. So we're into the last 9 minutes. And it is level. Milltown 2-11, Monivea Abbey 1-14. If you haven't been following the trajectory of the game, it's the ultimate game of 2 halves, maybe of 3 quarters so far. The first quarter dominated by Milltown. Are Milltown gone and breached the 3 up there? Mike Martin is indicating. Killian McDade is shouting. They're all over roaring at the linesman, and that's certainly no way to be speaking to an official, as Monivea come forward looking for the lead point. It's into the goalkeeper's hands. Now this certainly is very untoward. There's no doubt Milltown breached the 3 up rule, but the way that some of the Monivea players, including Killian McDade, absolutely attacked the linesman is it's probably going to lead to some repercussions, I think, at the end of this, because it's
it wasn't nice to see, Ali. Maybe it's just a frustrating coming out, but you know, Austin is down there on the line, and you know he can really win all he wants. And I think Mike Martin may be a couple of steps over the halfway line.
The problem here is Killian McDade is on a yellow card, and the linesman on this near side is now indicating that the ferocity of Killian McDade's protests, right and all as he completely was, may well lead now to a red card if the referee takes action. He may just turn a blind ear to it to avoid absolute controversy here and bringing the ire of the Monivea Abbey supporters onto it. But isn't it fantastic to see such energy in a match that's not supposed to mean anything?
It's amazing the way it's finishing up, and you know we're just going to see a great last 10 minutes, and there's drama everywhere on the pitch for a game. Here goes Killeen.
Killian McDade burrows into the challenge on Niall Costello. The linesman indicates a line ball to Monivea Abbey, and I'll tell you, if I'm Monivea Abbey, I don't know. Killian McDade is such a ferocious competitor, but he is on a tightrope right now.
He's living on the edge, but sometimes, you know, the great players do that, and, you know, as Milltown turn over, but, you know, sometimes that's needed as well.
Terence Godwin in there battling. Somebody's really going to get a card in the next challenge, you would think. Mike Martin goes to ground. He tries to win the ball. Everybody's running over the ball. Mike Martin wins it back to Mark here. There's a little bit of normality brought back to it. Niall Costello to James Kavanagh. Plays a little 1-2. Remember, Monivea Abbey have had loads of chances to take the lead, and now it's with Costello. Puts the head down. A chance for Milltown to take the lead, and they have done. The point is put over the bar from Liam Costello, and Milltown in the period of some absolute chaotic football to go back in front.
Great score by Costello, and I think we're probably 6 minutes to go now, but Milltown just needed that so much, and I'm just wondering did Monivea just expend too much energy there, because they had a couple of chances, but we're in for a fantastic finish here for a game that's supposed to mean nothing.
Well, anytime you put Milltown and Monivea Abbey on the field and you tell them that there's nothing at stake, I'm afraid history would argue with you otherwise.
You better run away when you tell it to them.
Because there is just too much in the DNA of both of these clubs. Milltown back defending, and defending stoutly. Terence Godwin's had a fine game for Milltown. Picked up a lot of possession. But what about this man? Mightn't have seen much of him in the last 15 minutes, but when Milltown need him in the last quarter, he's got on the ball, and now look at him back dictating play. The player we're talking about, the Milltown number 10, Liam Costello, off in turn. Sean Blake just about getting out of that particular issue. Chance now for Jack Curran to keep going forward. Milltown very close to this near touchline. Ball kept in play. It's really close to the sideline. Milltown burrowing through a couple of challenges. Advantage coming. Niall Costello slips, holds onto the ball. Might have a free pop at the post, and that'll come back for the free. Clever play from Niall Costello. Knew what was coming.
Absolutely. He was right to shoot there as well. And he was just inside the 2-point arc as well. But fantastic. Fantastic.
Great work from Costello to keep Milltown in possession more so than anything. Milltown have made a change. Of course, they've brought in their number 19 into this position as well. So
Johnny
from
Hines,
a Milltown perspective, Johnny Hines brings great experience into the team as well. So Johnny Hines in, wearing 19, and he'll be a man just to bring a bit of calm, like James Kavanagh, to the last few minutes. The time is ticking on. 4 minutes to go, plus stoppages. Milltown have the advantage by 1. Milltown 2-12, Monivea Abbey 1-14 in what's turned into be a really exciting game. Sean Blake back to James Kavanagh. Milltown now looking to eat a little bit of that time away in the clock. Remember, 110 to 4 points at half time. So Milltown have scored 1-2 in the second half. But for Monivea Abbey, they've scored 110. Which is a fantastic return into that town goal with the elements, as they brought all of their great heart and commitment to bear. But that chance that they had from Owen Blade to go in front,
that was the one.
Was that the one?
That was the one, because, you know, with the rules now, the wind here, Milltown just can't afford to sit back with a 1 point. They have to go for 2, because Monivea will definitely get the chances. So it just every
lovely
team goes
ball
out.
in. Is that a free in? It is. A trip on Owen Mannion, and this would put Milltown 2 up. Now that's not an insurmountable lead by any manner of means for Monivea Abbey, because there's every chance, if Monivea are to get a score, that it will be a 2-pointer to level the match. So I would say 2 is the very minimum for Milltown. They probably need to get to 3 to have some sort of what you'd call a safe advantage. But the new rules really allow for such a fascinating finish to every game.
And I was wondering what it was going to turn out like, Ollie. Was it going to be a Galway-Donegal game? And the league, where they racked up such a high score in the first half, that the game in the second half for Galway-Donegal, Galway were just so far ahead. But in the club championship, it just seems to have the excitement here as Mark Hare is going to shoot.
Big kick for Hare, right-footed. Does he get the accuracy? You know well he does. Mark Hare doesn't miss. 2.5 minutes to go. Mark Hare gets another one on the board. It's his second 1-pointer of the second half. He got 2 2-pointers in the first, so that's 6 for Hare. But that free puts Milltown 2 in front. 2-13 for Milltown. 1-14 for Monivea Abbey. The stopwatch tells us now that we're edging close to 2 minutes plus stoppages, which will be important. It's not like the inter-county game, which is the hooter. Milltown can't play keep ball knowing what's left. There will be a certain amount of discretion given to Shane Curley. Full press from Milltown now, trying to stop Monivea coming out. Good hard tackling there by a combination of Niall Costello and Mike Martin. Now getting in the act is Owen Mannion, forcing Monivea back to their own 20-metre line on the scoreboard end of Tuam Stadium. Great kick pass out to the right hand side as Monivea look to try and get forward. All this time Milltown are 2 points to the front, trying to get it upside towards Blade, who's in at the edge of the square. Who's going to drive it forward to them? Monivea have got him free. It's outside the 45. That's a solo and go. Referee says play on. Opportunity now for Monivea to kick a point, and the ball is up and it's inside the post. It's a score. It's that man Brian Moran. It's a one-pointer, but Brian Moran showing great determination just to keep going and kick the point from play to make it 213 to 115. A terrific game, but Brian Moran, with 90 seconds left on the clock, a little bit less now, has brought us back to a one-point game again. Double substitution for Monivea. Blade comes off. Also coming off, Niall Mannion. Let's hear about those switches now for Monivea as Milltown goalkeeper Conor Nolan lines up this kick-out, which will have a huge significance on the end of this game. Down on the sideline, the Milltown selectors, Jerry Bones, Brian Ford, long-time stalwarts for Milltown as well, alongside their manager Owen Godwin, looking on nervously. Great finish to this game. Who's underneath the break? Foul on the Milltown man. Pushing the back as he went down on it. Sam Fearick just taking his time. Getting up. 2 minutes to be added on, says Pat Potter, down on the sideline. Another great Monivea man. I think everybody in the sideline is either Monivea or Milltown, whether you're going County Boards or with one of the clubs. So, the referee says hold that up. Sam Fearick is just going to kill a few more seconds as Milltown make another change. They're bringing on number 22. That's another of the Brennans. This time it's Damien who's coming in. Another experienced player.
Experienced player as well to bring in, yeah. So Milltown just using their all experience the last few minutes. Ollie, just Sam Fearick is down here and they're a point up. They're trying to delay it. But the big thing for Milltown is to get hands on the ball here. Monivea just need to tackle as much as they can to get possession here. I'm just wondering, is there a 2 point left in England, Kelly? But Milltown just need to keep possession here.
A 2-pointer is probably more likely for Monivea than a 1-pointer, given the fact that Milltown are likely to flood the defence. Would that be fair?
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's watch this counter-attack first from Milltown. We've got plenty of pace up front. Let's see, can Mannion get down on the ball? It's a big ask. Does really well to slide in. But can Mark Ayre hold it? He can. And an excellent little pop pass out to Costello, who completely misread where the hand pass was to go, and he's given the ball away. And that's a big mistake now as we turn into injury time. A minute to go. Monivea, a point in arrears. A single point will draw the game. A 2-pointer might well win it. Is there a 2-pointer to line up to try and have a shot to win? Glenn Kelly is the man to have a pop, but he is surrounded by 2 Milltown players. 60 seconds to go here in Tuam Stadium. Trevor Mullins, nice ball through the gap. Is there a 2-point shot coming here? Who's got the courage to go for it? Out in the pocket, waiting, is Glenn Kelly. He's trying to work around the arc. Almost like Clifford waiting to see can he get in on that right foot. But Milltown are outside their 45. They've done well here, Milltown, I think, to force Monivea to try and play a killer ball through the gap. Here's an opportunity for Monivea now to kick the equalising score. It's dropped in and over the bar.
He's got it.
It's Brian Moran with the equaliser. And Brian Moran from inside the arc, a 1-pointer to level it up at 213 to 116. A point from play. The stopwatch tells us the 2 minutes are played. Is Shane Curley going to go beyond that because of the double substitution, or will he put everyone out of their misery and blow up for a draw match? I think there's one more play. Here's the kick out. Who wins possession might well win the match. It breaks down. Can Monivea get there? They might just do. Is that a push? Referee says play on. The ball just about getting into the arms of Pádraig Godwin, who holds the ball, gets his free, and that might be enough for Milltown to go back-to-back draws. James Kavanagh, one last attack for Milltown to try and win the game maybe. In it goes to Owen Mannion. Owen Mannion with the last attack. He goes to ground, he's got the free. Milltown have won the free, and maybe have they got the free to win the game with the last kick. The Blues have got the ball. It's going to be a free in and a yellow card on Fionn Garvey. And this is Mark Ayre. It looks like a pull down black card for Fionn Garvey. It's all academic. With the last kick of the game, Mark Ayre could win it for Milltown. From being 12 up They've been pegged back twice, and now Mark here can get Milltown out of jail and win the game with his 7th point. It would be tough luck on Monivea Abbey if the Milltown lads were to deny them.
You wouldn't be. My Mark here he's just so experienced here.
He'll take his time. Here to win the game, right-footed. He gets an awful lot of height on it. He balloons it out to the right, and Monivea Abbey will get the draw that their efforts deserve, surely. We have played 3.5 minutes. Is the referee going to give one more play? Well, we've gone way past the 2 minutes. We've had a couple of substitutions. He may decide. He's looking at the watch. Still the clock ticks on. 33-45. There's the final whistle. Draw match. And you know what? I think Monivea Abbey are fully deserved of that. Brian Donoghue, your final thoughts?
Fantastic second half. The first half was amazing that Milltown just got so far ahead, but this is just going to give Monivea Abbey so much motivation going into in the last couple of games in the relegation now to come away with a draw here against Milltown, and it's probably the fire that Milltown need going into the preliminaries, Ollie, but they finished second, and what a game of football we had in the second half.
Well, you can't say Monivea Abbey didn't deserve it, that's for sure. 12 points down after 16 minutes. We were thinking already that this was game over time, and you were looking at any sort of a scoreline. We even suggested with some temerity at one point that Milltown might be thinking of overturning this 20-point deficit to Corofin to try and win the group. But Monivea Abbey, they've got just unbelievable pride in their club and in their DNA. And based on that, Monivea Abbey go into this 4-team relegation with Annadown, Barna na Furbacha and St. Michael's with that sort of heart and with that sort of determination, and surely with at least one of their games here in Tuam Stadium, where they always seem to perform, Brian Donoghue. You'd have to give Monivea Abbey every chance of being too good to avoid the drop.
Too good, too experienced, but when their backs are to the wall, Ollie, they just come out fighting, and that's just built into their DNA in Abbey Knockmoy and in Monivea as well, down through the years. And I certainly, if I was any of the rest of the teams, either Michaels or Annadown or Barna, definitely you don't want to get Monivea after the performance as well and their experience here as well. So draw in the end, but they'll take great fight out of this.
Well, let's watch some highlights. Come back to us in a couple of minutes and we'll have some reaction pitch side from Milltown and Monivea Abbey. It's finished in a draw. 2-13 for Milltown, 1-16 for Monivea Abbey. By the time he kicks it, he'll be about 47 metres out. Loads of power, loads of accuracy, loads of distance, and 2 points on the board for Milltown. If he can get a second 2-pointer. So Mark here from a much more central position, right-footed, strikes it up and straight between the posts. He's
right.
Great pace. You've got the wily experience of Mike Martin. Mark here coming through, an opportunity to punch a point.
They're in a bit of trouble.
And Milltown have got a 5-on-4 overlap here. This could be big danger. In the end, the ball is tapped high up and it's over the bar. Simple score to beat Letchermore, and that way they'd finish second regardless. No free, says the referee, but Monivea Abbey might get the advantage of a shot at the goals, and a deflection out for a 45, and that could have gone. That he spilled the initial catch was enough to convince the referee. And so it's turned over. John Martin working it out toward Terry Godwin. Fine player, Godwin. Beautiful ball inside. Here's a chance for Milltown now. In on goal. Is there a chance? Oh, back in the net. Brilliant finish. Owen Mannion. Pass. Good work. An opportunity now for Liam Costa to curl it over, but he's turned that one just enough inside the post. Second game here today between the Moby Kills and Clare Galway, because one of those teams is a very live and real earn as all-time club scorer. As Milltown come looking for another score, an opportunity as the shot is blazed over the bar by Owen, howling into his face, barely keeping his eyes open. Left-footed, gets a good purchase on it, and Monivea Abbey are off the mark on 20 on his own. Good ball back to Moore. Lovely little hand pass inside. Now here's the chance for Monivea Abbey. Is there a goal on here? A punch point. It's flicked up and over the bar. Nice work. Milltown get it forward now to Liam Costa. He's the real danger man, having a run left and right. Putting the head down. Is he going for a punch point? Oh, it's just
very
marvellous foot right. Goes for the little killer kick pass. Nice ball through. Is there a shot outside of the right? This is a fine effort. That's a beautiful score.
But they were just so dominant the first half now, but the way the rules have gone and the breeze and the conditions are here, it's unbelievable that Monivea are just 5 points ahead. Sorry, 5 points behind.
Milltown working it through the hands. Sam Fearing flicking it across. They've got a goal! Oh, what a patient bit of football from situation. But Milltown are just struggling to hold on to the ball. Monivea Abbey turned them over. This time, the man dispossessed is John Martin, and it's the kind of Johnny McGraths of this world that are built to mark corner forwards like that. Not every club, though, was far more in tune with the rules than I give him credit for, because he obviously spotted the fact that the 3-up breach was left 2-11 to 1-8 as suggested, and 2-pointers can come thick and fast in this game. And here's a pot shot for another. Moran goes for it. Moran gets it. This game is back in the ball chipped into the full forward line. A chance again for Blade. He's on the left. He's surely going to look for a runner. Kelly's on his left, pops it over the bar. Glenn Kelly
to get legs into them. Kelly's going for this one. He's a long way out.
This is a Glenn Kelly 2-pointer to get us back within one, and
what a kick!
In this game, as they know, Monivea Abbey are on the cusp of maybe hitting the front. This ball is going to drop up and over the bar.
It's going over.
A shot from Monivea Abbey. Have had loads of chances to take the lead, and now it's with Costello. Puts the head down. A chance for Milltown to take the lead, and they have done.
But in the club championship, it just seems to have the excitement here as Mark Hare is going to shoot.
Big kick for Hare, right footed. Does he get the accuracy? You know well he does. Mark got him free. It's outside the 45. That's a solo and goal. Referee says play on. Opportunity now for Monivea Abbey to kick a point, and the ball is up and the gap. Here's an opportunity for Monivea Abbey now to kick the equalising score. It's dropped in and over the bar.
He's got it!
It's Brian Moran. There's the final whistle. Draw match. And you know what? I think Monivea Abbey are fully deserved of that. Brian Donoghue, your final thoughts?
Fantastic second half. The first half was amazing that Milltown just got so far ahead, but this is just going to give Monivea Abbey so much motivation going into in the last couple of games in the relegation now to come away with it.
Welcome back out here pitch side. I'm with the Monivea Abbey manager Francis Roach, and with our man of the match Brian Moran. Terrific match. I have to ask you a question, Bunt, as the other teams come out for the second game. What was the motivation for Monivea Abbey to put in a performance like that when it looked after 16 minutes, 12 points down, that it was game over?
Well, Ali, it's like this. I'm saying to our lads the last couple of weeks, like, this is the first time that this is man of the match today, is the first time he started for us this year. And we had a lot of injuries. We're still missing Caelan Murley. We won't have Keane Dolan, 2 counted defenders, you know. And we've lost Philip Muldowney, picked up an injury. But we had 20 lads unavailable to us for different reasons this year. But as I said, when we get everyone on the field, Ali, we'll be a match for anyone. And it's all about your performance and the true heart. And fair play to Milltown. They brought us out on us today. And Milltown are proving what they can do, the way they come out here and they battled against Corofin. Corofin turned us over by 22 points. Like, Ollie, I was ashamed that day, and our players felt that. But we've really trained well with the last couple of weeks, and we're going to push on. And we have a massive game in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be a relegation game, whether it's Down, Barna or St. Michael's. But we will be match fit. We'll be match ready now. And fair play. It was a massive game, lads. And I'm proud of every one of my players, really.
There was an unbelievable point in that second half where you got back, Brian, and actually got level with Milltown. I mean, you must have been confident at that stage that you could maybe drive on and win the game.
Yeah, we had the momentum at that stage. We were winning a lot of the breaks around the middle of the field. Obviously, they got the goal when we were hitting a purple patch, and that kind of set us back. But we showed a lot of heart to kind of drive it on again and finish out with the draw. But yeah, it kind of gave us a lot of confidence going forward. But
it was tough conditions out there. Talk to me about that first.
Yeah, obviously going, I think it was 1-9 to not score down after 15 minutes. You know, it's easy to drop the heads, but we got a couple of points going into half time, and you know, once at half time, there's still plenty to go on it. We have a strong breeze there. 9 points isn't a lot now with the new rules. So yeah, conditions weren't great, but they kind of suited us in the second half. We got a lot of scores. The win was probably a big help there. And
more importantly, you got the one to draw it at the end. You swung the left peg at it.
Yeah, it just about came in now. I was kind of fearing it was going wide, and I'd hear about it, but no, it went in, lucky enough.
Your manager Francis here says this will give you great confidence going forward to those crucial round robin games.
Hopefully, yeah. Like, you know, Carfin's always going to be a tough first game. Litchmore, we could have got the win. We played well for 40-50 minutes. Probably let ourselves down, but it's good to get a win in the last game, get some momentum, and kind of feel a good factor again going into relegation battle, because it's good to get confidence back going. It's easy to drop the heads, but you know, we're in a good place now after today.
Brian, well done as man of the match. And Francis, the final point then, the trajectory is going the right way, do you think, for Monivea Abbey?
Oh, it is, Olive, of course. We have an awful young team. Like, we have Trevor Mullins and Dennis Farrer, and the rest of our team are fierce young lads. But I have great belief in this group. Like, you know, and they're only going to improve and improve and improve. And it's the first time that Kevin Brogan kicked the football for us this year. He come on there. He's a super young lad. And there's a lot of guys who was injured all year. So, look, it's up and onwards for us, and let's get it on. No matter who we play, we want that performance, Ollie. And no matter how you train and how hard you train and you think you're going well, you have to go out and perform. And I'm glad I got that today, Ollie.
That's the message from the Monivea Abbey lads. Well done to Francis Roach and to Brian Moore. And there they go, the two Monivea Abbey lads. And in many ways, the story is all about Monivea Abbey and their incredible resilience and heart to come from so far behind to draw the match. The conditions are still pretty poor here in Tuam Stadium as we sign off on the first of our live games on Galway GA TV. A draw match, it finished. Milltown 2-13, Monivea Abbey 1-16. Thanks for watching.